If you're having trouble with mathematics, numbers getting problematic, don't you panic. Check MathWiz, the best math tutor on the planet. From fraction to algebra, simple maths, add up some trigonometry into that. Learning math is fun with MathWiz, and that's a fact. We're rooting for you.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another MathWiz Academy video. For today, we're going to be continuing with solving equations. But of course, we are moving on to some more complex questions. And so provided you watch the prerequisite videos, we're going to jump straight into today's lesson. Now, we have the square root of x plus 3 is equal to 8, and they want us to solve for x. So as usual, the first thing we want to do is to locate where our x is, and then we want to start off by moving everything else from beside it. So since we are solving for x, we are not going to move that x or that square root first, right? You leave what you're solving for last. So that plus 3, when we take it to the opposite side, it is going to become minus 3, right? And these are skills that we would have already mastered, that if we have a plus, when we take it to the opposite side, it becomes minus. All right, so we are going to have that the square root of x is equal to 8 minus 3, which is 5. And then to get rid of the square root, you will have to square the opposite side. And of course, if you're not comfortable with this, go ahead, watch the prerequisite video, and then you can come back and try these questions. And for 5 squared, that means 5 multiplied by 5, not 5 times 2. So 5 squared is going to give us 25. All right, so to get rid of the square root, you square the opposite side. Okay, so I'm going to re-explain, but if you are comfortable, you can go ahead and try this question on your own. So the first thing we did was to identify where the x is, and we found it. So we said, okay, let's move everything else from beside it. So the plus 3, when we took it to the opposite side, became minus 3. And then the square root, to get rid of it, we had to square the other side. So provided you have paused the video, worked that question on your own. If not, go ahead and pause it now, try it on your own, and then you can press play for the solution. So we have the square root of x plus 6 is equal to 9. We locate the x, so we're going to move this 6 first. And so we have that plus 6, when we take it to the other side, becoming minus 6. And so we have the square root of x, so 9 minus 6 is 3. And to get rid of the square root, we want to square the opposite side. And 3 squared is simply going to be 3 times 3, which is 9. Okay, so let's move on to our second set of examples. Okay, so now for our second example, the x is still on the left-hand side, but now it is behind, right? So this 5, which is in front, there's no sign. So whenever there's no sign, you assume that it is a plus. And so that plus 5, when we take it to the opposite side, we are going to do the opposite, which is to subtract. Now, you don't need to have plus square root x. You can just have the square root of x. And 14 minus 5 is going to give us 9. And to get rid of the square root, you simply need to square the opposite side. And the square of 9 is not 9 times 2. It is 9 multiplied by itself. So it's 9 times 9, which is going to give you 81. So go ahead and try for yourself. 10 plus the square root of x is equal to 16. So you can go ahead, pause the video, and then once you're through, press play for the solution. Okay, so provided you worked that question on your own, the first thing you wanted to do was to identify where the x is. Then this 10 with no sign in front, we know it's a plus. So you're going to take it to the other side by subtracting. And so you're going to have the square root of x is equal to 16 minus 10, which is going to give us 6. And then to get rid of the square root, you would want to square the opposite side. And the square of 6 is 6 times 6, which is 36. Okay, so for our third set of examples for today, we are going to look at what if the x is on the right hand side. So we operate very similarly. You focus on finding where the x is. Now that we know where the x is, we need to remove everything from beside it. And so that plus 1, when we take it across, is going to become minus 1. As usual here at Mathers Academy, when we're taking over our numbers, we always take them over behind, right? So we have 3 minus 1, which is going to give us 2, which is equal to the square root of x. And then to get rid of that square root, you simply square the opposite side. And 2 squared is 2 times 2, which is going to give us 4. Now I will go over that, but for those persons who believe they caught it the first time, you can go ahead and try that question on your own. So even though the x is on the right hand side, we still located that x first. Then you simply say, okay, the plus 1 beside it, when I take it to the opposite side, it will become minus. And then you have the square root. To remove it, you simply still square the other side. So go ahead and pause the video, and then once you're finished, you can press play to see the solution. So we have 9 is equal to the square root of x plus 5. So we locate the x, then beside it we have plus 5. So you want to take it to the other side by subtracting. And after that, we have 9 minus 5, which is going to give us 4. So the square root of x is equal to 4. And to get rid of the square root, you simply want to square the opposite side. And 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is going to give you 16. So the final set of examples for this question, we're still looking at the x being on the right hand side, but what if it is now behind? So just like the questions that we did, I think in the second example, where there's no sign in front, you assume that it is a plus. And so that plus 3, when you take it across, it is going to become minus 3. And 10 minus 3 is going to give you 7. And again, you don't need to have plus square root x. You can just have the square root of x. And then to get rid of the square root, you simply square the opposite side. And the square of 7 is 7 times 7, which is 49. So I will go back over that. But as your final question for this video, you can go ahead and try that one on your own. So the first thing we did was to locate the x. Then after that, the 3, which had no sign in front, we assume that it was a plus. So when we take it to the opposite side, you should minus. Then to get rid of the square root, you simply needed to square the opposite side. So go ahead and pause the video. Then you can press play for the solution. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is to identify where the x is. And then the 4 which you're supposed to assume is added. When we take it to the other side, we are going to subtract. And 13 minus 4 is going to give us 9. So 9 is equal to the square root of x. And to get rid of that square root, you simply want to square the opposite side. And 9 squared is 9 times 9, which is going to give you 81. Okay, so that's going to be our final example for this video, or final question rather. I do hope that you found this useful. Of course, be sure to comment below, be sure to share with your friends. I do hope that these videos continue to help you, whether you are preparing for your exam or simply just using it to help you with your classwork or your homework. Until next time, I continue to root for you, continue to be encouraged, continue to work the questions at your own pace. Don't be afraid to go back over the videos, and I will see you in the next one.